There was something untasteful about this situation. These evolved humans and us, did they come to make us extinct? Did we have any right anymore to rule this abode that spanned on its axis in the vastness of space? Some of the doctors and able patients ran at the monster, but were soon thrown back. We had no chance. But their sluggish movement gave us at least one advantage: speed. We retreated to the next set of doors, and used beds and tables on the doors and corridors in between, where a set of makeshift guards were placed. Many patients, unable to move, were easily agitated. One man with a pipe down his throat to his lungs managed to get himself up and waved his arms about as he coughed up his pipe a little with each movement, before a nurse restrained him and laid him back down again. But the patients were now the least of our worries, for if we could not formulate a plan, soon all of us were beyond medical help. The boy was clearly shaken by this whole affair. He was shaking and needed to sit down and drink a hot drink before he was calm again. I held his hand and looked into his eyes and told him a lie which I had no right to tell, that I could not bring true. I told him everything will be all right. But inside I knew this was far from the truth. As the creatures broke through the first set of doors, we scuttled off to the next set of rooms, leaving some patients we could not remove in time to the mercy of the creatures. We couldn't stay in this adjacent set of rooms for long, as the noise of the zombified tramps breaking the bones of the paralyzed patients and sucking on them like a tramp does methylated spirits. I could not let the boy hear these sounds, though I was sure he probably had heard worse. But we moved up a flight of stairs, this time taking the much valuable time to take everyone with us, even if we had to use our very own backs to carry each bed and patient and set of life-saving machines they were connected with. Each life was precious, and whilst where no choice is available it was regrettable, when there was, it would be a crime not to save them. The creatures I had imagined smashed their way through the walls and through equipment attached to the dead bodies that had splayed about the rooms as their anger multiplied, their eyes shining white, their mouths dribbling, and a roar, a sound more akin with an animal than a man. We went through all the rooms available to us, taking chemicals, using a biochemist to mix explosive and corroding agents that would be our weapons, along with wood and sticks and metal rods. Each person was given some form of weapon, and in a crowd we got together and decided now was the time we would face these monsters. We charged with the battle cry down 3 flights of stairs, down a corridor and into a room where the creatures were enjoying a meal they had just murdered. I struck one of them with a metal rod and quickly with my other hand threw a bottle which smashed on his back with impact. Smoke rose from the chemical. It began to burn a hole through his shirt, then his back, until in a second I could see right the way through him as blood continued with the aid of gravity to pump about his body and out this hole and onto the floor. He turned slowly and looked at me, roared. I imagined he was angry and about to snap my neck off. When he roared, finished, he fell to the ground, dead. Yes, dead. He was dead. These creatures had inherited our vulnerability, and with the first of them dead, we began vigilantly to beat the life out of these once human beings. But this moment of success, of joy, was short-lived, for they soon outnumbered us. It was as if they were more than we had seen in the foyer of the hospital. Maybe more had come, we had not taken account of this. Increased numbers, and soon they were knocking us off like flies. Bodies of doctors, nurses, patients, indiscriminately of medical condition, lay dead side by side. It appeared we were lost, as the zombified creatures grouped together and began to descend towards us. We were pinned in by a wall. Darkness came about us as the creatures' tall bodies blocked the door where the sun was shining. Their shadows crossed our faces. We were doomed. I held onto the boy's hand, thinking of the false promise I had made him, and thinking I was soon to receive the reward of that lie in my death. But how unfair he should experience it too, when all he did was believe me. The moment seemed lost. There was no more able men to fight these creatures. "Get down!" shouted a distant voice. We did, as it said, not knowing who it was or even where the voice had come from, but we obeyed it nevertheless. An explosion ripped the back off one of the creatures, and the rest of it slid to the ground. Then a round of machine bullets flew across the room from the doorway, and the creatures moved to face their new enemy. I pulled hold of the boy to my chest and decided to make my promise come true. It was not right of me to leave this moment, but I had to make sure the boy was safe. I darted past the creatures through another door and down the stairs to the front. There were more creatures coming through the door. I fell in between them and struggled past them, only to notice that once outside the boy was no longer clinging to my chest. I heard his scream. We must have been parted during the struggle. With the creature in the doorway, I could see him. I had no time to think clearly. I knew it would almost certainly be death for me, but I had charged towards the creature to save the boy. I found my body and the creature entangled as I tried to use all the brute force I could muster to defeat this monster. He soon had me in a bear hug, and my body, like putty, seemed to deflate. I had not much time to live. My lungs would pop and I would be dead.